Today on the Travel Magazine, a visit to the Netherlands' capital city, The Hague. But first to Cape Town with its unforgettable scenic experience. With its Table Mountain as a backdrop, Cape Town is without any doubt one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Hi, I'm Jake de Boer and this is the Travel Magazine. Join us today for some of the most dramatic views found anywhere and see where the Atlantic and Indian Ocean meet. During the 1600s and 1700s, sailors would come from around the world and drop their anchors in order to replenish their supplies. This area became known as the Tavern of the Seas, and until today, Cape Town has retained its reputation as the city of hospitality.
Cape Town really is the nucleus of a great many things that tourists are normally interested in. Firstly, it must count as one of the most beautiful cities in the world by virtue of the fact that it is scenically beautiful. It consists of a mountain range right in the middle of the city, so to speak. It's surrounded by two oceans. It's got the most beautiful vegetation with a wide variety of flowering plants. And whatever lives here in abundance. I think that all this beautiful environment has also affected the settlers in past years to the point that they have actually created very beautiful architecture unique to this particular area, which enhances nature in so many ways. Nowhere in the world can it be more picturesque than here in Cape Town, with blue mountains, good crisp air, and lovely architecture.
Cape Town has, right since its beginning in 1652, has been a cosmopolitan community, a place where people have come from all different parts of the world and have blended and mixed with the local population and have made us a group of people who have learned to understand and to tolerate and to appreciate each other's differences, our backgrounds, our languages, our cultural differences. And it's a place where you can be regenerated, where you can get inspiration, where daily you can have a celebration. This place is just magnificent in its natural and its social setting. For me, it's a celebration, and I believe that's what makes it different, and people recognize that.
Green Market Square is one of many open-air flea markets that is flourishing in the Cape Town sunshine.
There, oh, that looks very smart.
Cape Town Harbour is one of the busiest and most vital in the world. But the unique thing about this harbor is the Victoria Wharf, which allows Cape Towners and tourists alike the chance to really enjoy the waterfront area.
The Victoria and Alfred waterfront is really a little miracle for Cape Town, because this was an area that hadn't been used for many years. In fact, Cape Townians just didn't go there. And they've revamped all those lovely buildings, and they're using them as restaurants, shops, theatres, museums. They have boat rides from there, and it's an area to really enjoy. It's busiest on Sundays. That's the busiest day of the week. Saturday afternoons is pretty busy. All the young people congregate in the harbour. And during the week is a good time if you really want to get into the shops.
A world-class city is often measured by its cultural offerings. The South African National Gallery, with its permanent collections of local and international art, make it the highlight of Cape Town's many museums and galleries.
I'm trying to make the National Gallery more accessible to a lot more people. I want people to come here and to feel comfortable. We try to maintain a balance between the older parts of the collections and what is happening in South Africa right now. We have wonderful collections of European art, British art, which reflect the colonization of the country. And then, of course, we have other traditions. We have our own Southern African traditions, and then a wonderful flowering of contemporary South African art, which is shown here.
Kirstenbosch is located on the easternmost slopes of Table Mountain. This tropical paradise is one of the most impressive botanical gardens in the world.
Kirstenbosch is the National Botanical Gardens, and it has a myriad of different plant species. You know, the plants in this country or in that area are called fynbos, and fynbos is made up of three major plant types. We have, first of all, the proteas, the ericas, and then the grasses. And Kirstenbosch has the best of all. The proteas are magnificent. When one walks through those lovely lawns and you see the proteas which come out at different times of the year, so there's always something to see at Kirstenbosch. Of course, there's a lovely tea garden there, and they also have little carts where you can go up through the garden. So even if you're really not up to the steep hill in terms of climbing it, you can get on a cart and they take you all the way up on a guided tour. Muizenberg is on the warm side. It's on the Indian Ocean, part of False Bay. It's a very long beach, which then becomes Christian Beach, which becomes Strandfontein. It's a white sandy beach, beautiful waves. It's good for surfing, and the young people love it.
On the southern approach to Cape Town is Chapman's Peak Drive. The 10-kilometer-long road, sliced into the mountainside, offers a series of dazzling panoramas across Chapman's Bay.
Chapman's Peak Drive is quite magnificent. It's a road that hugs a cliffside. And so when you look down, you see sheer cliffs dropping below you and this wild sea. And when you look up, they've got those lovely cliffs and the stratas of different types of rocks, and really magnificent.
Cape Towners, Cape Point is only an hour's drive south. But for most people, it may seem like the southernmost tip of the world.
Cape Point is a must. It's a good hour's drive from the central city area, but it's a magnificent drive. It's rugged, it's barren, it's wild, the wind blows. It's the place where two oceans meet, the Indian and the Atlantic Oceans. When you go down there, you will be inspired by the ruggedness and the barrenness of the place, and you will stand at the foot of the peninsula, and I have no doubt that visitors to Cape Point will feel a sense of exhilaration. They will see this mountain in the sea that comes down to a point, and one stands there and you feel almost a sense of this is where east meets west.
These wonderful flowers are growing in the beautiful gardens in Keukenhof. Keukenhof is near the west coast of Holland, and for 2 months every year, millions of flowers bloom in a spectacular display of color and variety.
Keukenhof was designed about 1850 by a German architect. In the park itself, which is about 70 acres big, 90 bulb growers are invited to display their very best produce. They have to plant the bulbs exactly according to our instructions, according to our design. The bulbs, the colors, the species, whatever. All they get in return is a sign, a plate with their name and village on it. And that for them is a lot of publicity, but because after all, in those 2 months that we are open, we have some 800,000 visitors. We plant every year 6 million bulbs. Half of them are being put in the ground mechanically and half by hand. Come 1st of June, all these bulbs are over a period of 6 to 8 weeks taken out. And then the park is just being restored to its own natural beauty. Now we also have indoor exhibitions, very famous ones. And there again, some 350 growers are involved by way of competition. Very interesting, very special, and, but it requires a lot of organizing and a lot of strict control. The windmill is really a landmark of Keukenhof, and we put it on many displays and posters and so. In fact, it's been here since 1957, when it was donated by the Holland America line as a token of appreciation to the bulb growers and the bulb industry of the big business they have been doing over the many years and years of exporting and shipping bulbs to North America. We just have been told by Kodak company that Keukenhof is the most famous but one spot in the world that is being photographed after Disneyland. In fact, Keukenhof, as we say, is really the crown jewel of springtime tourism.
The city of Delft already got city rights in 1246, and they were given to them by William II, the count who was residing in the city of The Hague. And Delft is a city with beautiful canals. The old center is still standing. In fact, there are 609 protected monuments, meaning houses and churches. And if you go down to the central market square, you will see the beautiful 17th century town hall. And there's two churches dominating the city. We have the old church, dating back to the 13th century. And we have quite a few famous people who have been buried over there. For instance, the painter Vermeer, who was from Delft. Also the inventor of the microscope, Antony van Leeuwenhoek. Piet Hein and Maarten Tromp, two of our famous admirals. And the new church, which actually dates back to about the 1400s. And that's where all the members of our royal family are being buried. And that goes back all the way to William of Orange, or William the Silent, who lived in Delft and who was actually shot in Delft as well.
The travel magazine will be back with a visit to the factory where genuine Delft's blue is made. So stay with us.
Delft is also very famous for something else, and that is the Delftware, which you can find at the factory of the Porcelain in Fles. It's the only factory that dates back to the 17th century where they still make the genuine Delftware.
One of the most important things is for somebody who is not very familiar with Delftware to look at the so-called trademark. Our trademark does not contain the word hand-painted or handmade or handwork or whatsoever. If you see hand-painted or handwork on an article, be careful, because in 90% of the cases it's not hand-painted at all. So our trademark is a little bottle, which is a fles in Dutch, with the initials of the man who founded it. That is J.T., Joost Tooft, one of my predecessors, and the word Delft, and that's all. We have a tradition that we keep always one piece ourselves. And this last night watch was here in our showroom. And then a very rich Canadian came and he said, well, listen, I like to buy that night watch. And one of the girls said, well, it's not for sale. He said, well, what is the price? So she came in my office and she said, there is a gentleman who liked to buy that last night watch. I said, it's not for sale. And she said, but the gentleman liked to have the price. I said, 60,000 guilders, which is almost $30,000. So she went back and the gentleman said, okay, sold. So we had a problem because we had no one left. So we made another one, which we could have called number 0. And that is now in our museum. And we keep it there. It's not for sale.
I would like to buy it from you. How much do you want for it?
$100,000.
Sold.
Okay, wrap it.
End of the interview. A leisurely canal ride north from Delft takes you to the Netherlands' capital city, The Hague.
The city of The Hague was founded in 1247 by William II, Count William II, And he was the one who actually built a hunting lodge in the forest, which was surrounded by a hedge, and that's how the city got its name. Now his son finally built a hunting, not next to the hunting lodge, a big reception hall, which was the Hall of Knights. And that's the building that's still standing in the center of The Hague, and it's the center of the parliamentary buildings, our first and our second chamber. And the whole complex is called the Binnenhof, and right next to the Binnenhof we also have a beautiful museum that's called the Mauritshuis, with 17th century masters such as Rembrandt and Jan Steen and Vermeer. There are two beachside resorts in Den Haag, Capetown and Scheveningen. Scheveningen being the larger one, and that's where you find, for instance, a beautiful hotel called the Kurhaus, which dates back to 1880. And you can, of course, still nowadays stay there. It has been completely renovated.
As the sun sets over the beaches at Scheveningen, it also brings an end to our show. From the west coast of Holland, I'm Jake de Boer. Bye for now.